Hi everyone, Salesforce Development Day 34. Now today's agenda is we'll quickly go through the previous session and we'll talk about the email programming in the Apex. What is messaging dot single email message? How can we send a single email message from the Apex? And what are the different methods we have in the Apex? And how to send an email using the Apex? And then we will see a use case of email programming. Then finally, we'll see the Garner limits of batch class. Now, the email programming is, by using this email programming, we can send or receive the email notification from external system IDs. That means we have already seen during the admin, in the admin we have a email templates. There is a email templates, right? So using these email templates, we can send an email to the different people. But right now, I wanted to handle this using the Apex. If you want to handle this using the Apex, right? How can we do it? So we have something called email programming in Apex. So by using this email programming, either we can send, both the ways you can do it, sending the email from Salesforce to the other system or receiving the email. So whenever the customer is responding to the product or a project owner, right? Whenever the customer is responding to the client, so how can we receive the email? So both the ways we can implement using the Apex. So whenever we are sending an email, right, we have to add the required subject has to be there. Subject is mandatory, right? And the content, if there are any attachment, right? Everything we need to add it into the while sending it. Right, email program provides the set of it is already providing the set of ready-made classes. That means by using those classes, we can send an email and we can receive an email. You need not to write it from the scratch on this email programming part of it. So you can use, there are few classes or few methods which are available with the email programming. By using the predefined classes, predefined method, we can send and receive an email. Right? The message, the class name is called messaging. Whatever the namespace is there, where is those namespace, where is those classes will be there. So the classes will be available inside the messaging. That means email programming provides a set of ready-made classes to use to send or receive the emails by using we have a namespace called messaging. So in this namespace, we will have a different ready-made classes, right? And these classes will have it again different methods. So by using this, we can send an email. Take a notes of it. Done, taken the notes. Now, So now let's see that. Now we have mentioned that inbound email and outbound email here. Now let's see what is this inbound and outbound email. Now when we say outbound email, so basically the email programming is divided into the two types. One is outbound email service and the second one is inbound email service. Email programming is email service is divided into the two types, outbound email service and inbound email service. Outbound email service is nothing but by using this feature, we can send an email to the required people by using the ready-made classes, which is inside the namespace called messaging. So inside the namespace messaging, we have a class is called single email class, single email message. By using this single email message class, we can send an email which is called as a outbound email service. If you want to send multiple emails, not a single email, you want to send multiple emails. In that case, we have a inside the namespace messaging, we have a class called mass email message class. Mass email message class. So this is to send a single email. This is to send more than one email. Like at a time, you want to send more than one people. In that case, we have to use the messaging dot mass email. Messaging is a namespace. In that we have a class called mass email message. Now, inbound email service. Inbound email service is nothing but by using this feature, we can receive the email inbound, receiving an email notification from the external system, from the customers to the client or to the people who are sending them from the Salesforce to responding to those members. So whenever we are receiving the email, whenever we want to accept the emails from the external system, from the customers, then we have to go with inbound email service. Now, how can we implement inbound email service? Inside the class messaging, inside the namespace messaging dot, the class name is inbound email handler interface. It's a interface. Sending, you have to use the class, and receiving, you have to use the interface. The interface is called inbound email handler. If you are sending it from the Salesforce, that is called as an outbound. When you are receiving it from the Salesforce customers, then it is called as an inbound email. When you are receiving it, it's an inbound, sending outbound. If you are doing the outbound, then that means in the namespace messaging dot, to send a single email message class. To send a multiple emails, it is a mass email message class. If you are receiving it from the customers or from the external system, then it is a inside the namespace messaging, we have a interface called inbound email handler. Take a notes of it. Done. Okay. Now first we will see the outbound email service. How can we implement a outbound email service? So in the outbound email service, we know the namespace is messaging. Inside that we have a single email message class and mass email message class. Single email message class is to send the single emails. Mass email message is to send the multiple emails at a time. Now, whenever we are sending it, now forget about the Salesforce. Let's take a Gmail, right? When you are sending a single email from the Gmail, what information you will give to address, CC address, BCC, subject, and then you will click on the send button. Right? These are the information you will give it. Now, similarly, when you are using the single email message, you need to specify the to address. Right? To address is mandatory, subject is mandatory, and what are the content you are placing inside the description. So that is important. And if you want to attach it, you can attach it, and then you need to click on the send button. Now, this is manual step. Now, by using the programming, if I wanted to implement, how can we implement? Now, if I have to specify the to address, how can I specify inside the class single email message? For that, we have a set to address. Set to address. So set to address is the one, is the to. If you want to pass the to address, then you have to use the method called set to address. If it is a CC, set CC address. If it is a BCC, set BCC address. If it is a subject, set subject. These are the methods. And then finally you have a plain text, or you wanted to add some information inside this, then how can we add it? Now set plain text. If you want to add a plain text, that means I do not want to add any images or logo. If I do not want to add anything, then you can use the set plain text body. Or else if you want to add a URLs or some format, if you want to be use that, then you can say here, set HTML body. Now, once everything is ready, now I need to attach this. If I want to attach it, then we have to use the set file attachment. And then finally clicking on the send button. Through the programming, we have to use the send email class. So these all things are available inside the class called single email message. These all are available inside the single email message. I'll take a notes of it. Done? Let me know once you are done with taking the notes. Okay. Now let's see. Now in single email message, now by using this class, whatever the class is, the single email message class. By using this, we can send email notification to the one or more users, but basically you can send one by one message, you can send it, right? If you want to send a mass emails, then we have a mass one. So using this, you can send, if you are passing a list collection, you can send a collection of emails. If you are passing a single record, you can send a single record. One or more users with the required subject and content. Now, while sending this email to the people, we can pass the required input to the email by using the various instance method below. Now, syntax is messaging dot single email message, and you need to specify the object name equal to new messaging dot single email message. Messaging dot single email message. So that means example messaging dot single email message, and then you need to specify the email equal to new messaging dot single email. Take a notes of it. Now, let's see that this is the initialization of the messaging dot single email, right? After declaring it messaging dot single email message, we have a different method. Step one is you need to set the address. Now, address you can pass the list of the array or single array. So this is used to collection. This is used to add the collection of email IDs, right? You can pass the list or array to the to address email. Example, like you need to specify the list. So list of string, or else you can write a string. To address is the name of it equal to new string declaration of. This is the declaration of list of string. Then you are passing the some different email address. Now, once it is done, that means here this is the example. Now you can specify that whatever the main email is there. Now we have declared this one, right? Email, initialize this one. Initialize the object for the messaging dot single email. And what is the object name? Object name is email. Now once the method is set, now this method you need to pass it to the that object. That means object name is email dot set to address, and whatever the list of the informations are there, this to address you need to pass it to the set to address. Now, if you are passing the CC address is also same. You need to declare the CC address. First initialize this list of the string and then CC address equal to new string list and then pass the CC address. So once this is completed, then you pass into the namespace called email.setCC address. Now step 3 is if you want to pass the BCC address, it's the same BCC address. So BCC address is also same. Only the thing is that you are placing the email ID in the BCC address. So here one thing, when you are sending an email notification, we can add a maximum of 150 email address, right? Including the BCC2 or CCC, whatever the email address you are adding it, per single email message, per maximum you can add 150 email address. Now, once this all email address is done, now we need to set the subject. In the subject, you need to pass the email subject. What is the email subject that you are passing it and place it inside the object instance name called email. Email.set subject and pass the subject here. And finally, if you want a set reply to. Now, if you want to specify this is basically what this method is used to. If you want to specify the reply to on the email, if you want to specify the reply to email, whenever they click on the reply button, it should be reply to somebody. Like when we click on a reply to, automatically the email address will be captured, right? So if you want automatically the email address should be captured, then we have to specify the email dot set reply to and then specify here email. So what will happen whenever the users are click on the reply button, whenever they click on the reply button, so immediately email address will be captured, support@bell.com. Now, next one is a sender display name. Whenever the emails we are sending it, so what is the display name that you wanted to show it on the email? So for example, if I am sending an email to the customer, if ICICI Bank is sending an email to the customer, when they are sending an email to the customer, we don't see that their email ID into address. What they will see, either it is a Salesforce support or it will be a ICICI Bank. Some names will be displayed. So similarly, if you want to display the name, when you are sending an email, if you want to display the name, then in that case, what is the name that you wanted to specify? For example, if you are sending an email from the ICICI Bank, so you don't want to show the email address. So in that case, you need to specify the ICICI Bank credit cards. Set sender display name ICICI Bank credit cards. Now, finally, if you want to set the plain text body, then what will happen? It is going to, if you want to add any email content inside the body, so you can add the email content, email.set plain text body. Similarly, if you want to add a HTML, then you can add it into the HTML. So which is email.set HTML body, and this is the content you can add it. Now, finally, if you want to attach an email, set file attachment list of email message.email file attachment. So this method is used to add one or more attachment along with the email. So inside this file attachment, you have to use the namespace called message dot class name is email file attachment. Email file attachment. By using this class email file attachment, you can attach the email PDF or anything you can attach to that particular email. So finally, send the email. Now, once the email is ready with the required input details, then we can send an email notification to the user by using the send email method. So let's see the syntax. Messaging dot send email. Then you need to pass the list of the emails that you wanted to send. Or else you can say that messaging dot send email. Here only you can specify all the emails. Either you can pass from the outside the list of emails, or else you can specify the emails here itself. Right? If you are passing it from the outside, then it will be message dot send email result, and then email result equal to messaging dot send email, and you need to pass the list of the emails from the outside. If you are declaring it here, then directly you can declare the within the message dot send email new email message. Either you can implement this way or you can implement this way. Now take a notes of it. Sending the email. Let's see one of the use case. So the use case is email programming. Write an Apex program to create a 3 lead records inside the object and send the email notification to all 3 leads. Right. So for right now, the program we have to write it. In the program, only 3 lead records has to be created. As soon as the lead is created from the programming, then we need to send an email with the required subject and the content. We need to send it and write an email content inside the PDF file and attach the file along with the email as an attachment. So we need to write a Apex program to create a 3 leads, and then we need to send an email. While sending an email, we need to specify the subject, description, right? What are the content? Also, we need to attach the PDF file. Let's go ahead and implement this. Now, developer console, file, new, Apex class. Now, the part which we are going to write is related to the email message. So let's say that this is the email messaging helper. Email messaging helper. Now the first thing is that I need to create a 3 leads. First I need to create 3 leads, and then what we have to do, we have to send an email. Send email notification to all 3 leads. Right? So within this only I need to attach the PDF also. So that means while sending an email, I need to specify the subject, to address. So to address, right? Subject and description. And similarly, then I need to add the attachment with the PDF. Some attachment I need to add. Right. So first thing is that creating the 3 leads. Let's implement a method public static void. Now I'm going to create a static void. I'm creating the 3 new leads. Create leads. Create leads. Now inside this, let's say that if I wanted to create a lead, let's say that I'm going to use the for loop, integer, count equal to 1. Now count less than 4. That means I'm going to create a 3 leads. Count plus plus. Right? So now here I'm going to specify the lead. LD equal to new lead. Now inside this we have a LD dot first name equal to, let's say that email hyphen plus count. LD dot last name equal to message hyphen plus count. So just to differentiate, like all the 3 lead records should be the not same. It should not be same. Otherwise, it will say that duplicate lead record issue. Right? LD dot email equal to, let's say that I need a valid email here because we are going to send an email to them. So Samskar IT @gmail.com. Let's say that everybody I'm going to give the same email ID, or else if you want to differentiate the email address, then you need to specify for one, like if count equal to 1, then the Samskar IT @gmail.com. If count equal to 2, then Samskar different email ID. If count equal to 3, then it will be a different email address. Now in this case, I am giving the same email address dot rating, LD dot rating equal to, let's give the hot. Now LD dot industry equal to, let's say technology LD dot company equal to, let's say that Dell company. And what else we have? Let's say LD dot annual revenue 70 lakhs or 80 lakhs. That's it. Now let's take the collection here on top, list of lead, list of lead list equal to new list of lead. I'm going to add all the records. Dot add LD. Right? Is there anything wrong in this code? Will it be created if I execute this?
No, ma'am. Insert.
Insert is missing. Now out of this for loop,
And count also we have to mention 3. We are creating only 3 leads.
Yes. So if it is a not equal to empty, is empty. Then I need to specify the database dot insert. Let's say that lead list, comma, I'm going to specify the false. Let's save this. Now, let's see that whether it will be created or not. First execute that. So duplicate. Now here we have a leads. Now we have a total all open leads. 46 are there. Total 46 are there. So let's go ahead and see, execute this. Email messaging dot. How do we execute it? Class name dot. What are the method name is there? The method name. Execute the highlighted one. Now let's see the leads are created or not. It should be email messaging. So total 49. So there are email messaging were created. Now perfect. Now records are created. 3 records are created. Three records are created. Now next step is I need to implement sending a notification. In order to send a notification, what we will do is as soon as the record is created, we need to send an email. So for that, I'm going to implement another method, public static void. And the name of this method is, let's say, send notification. Send notification. And we are going to expect the list of leads. We have to pass it to this method. Otherwise, this method will not know that how many leads do I need to send? What are the leads do I need to send an email? So this information has to be passed from the outside to this method. Right, so now I have the lead list here. Let's take it as a LD list. Now, let's cross verify if I have a data. That means if lead list dot is empty. If it is not empty, then let's go inside. Now, what is the step that we have to implement here? The steps which we have to implement is, first I need to cross verify. First I need to initialize the single email message. The class, I need to declare it. I need to declare it as a list. Single email message list, I need to declare it. So in order to do that, so initially if it is a single one, then I can use the messaging dot single email message. But right now I have a list of the records. So what I'll do is, or let's do another way. Now I have this information, lead list is there. Now this lead list, what I'll do is first I need to loop through the each lead. I have a lead information. Let me go through the each lead. That means I need to look through the each record. Whatever the list I'm getting it, let's loop through the each record. Now, while looping through the record, I need to prepare a email notification. I need to prepare email notification. For preparing the email notification, messaging dot namespace. This is the messaging namespace dot single email message. Single email message, and let's specify the object name is email new messaging dot single email message. This is the class. Now I have initialized the messaging dot single email because every record I need to send a single email. Now, for example, right now I'm looping through the first record. Total, how many records I have? Total 3 records I have. Now first I'm looping through the first record. When I'm looping through the first record, I have prepared the email notification. I have initialized the messaging dot single email. Now inside this, I need to specify to address. I need to specify to address. And if you want to display the BCC, CC address also same. To address, CC, BCC address, all three are same. So I'll just go for a to address. I'll just go for a to address. So in order to declare the to address, I need to specify the string array and then to address. You can use the list of the string also in different way, like a list of string. You can use this way also. Either you can use this or you can use the array. Array is nothing but this one. Any one you can use it. So right now I have taken the array equal to new string array. New string array. Now within this, I need to specify the to address. To address, from where will I get it? To address, I'll get it from the lead email. Whatever the lead email is there, that single lead email. So that means when I'm looping through the each record, this is the name of it. Take that name dot email. So this is the email I have taken. Now the next one is to address is done. Let's say that if they are replying it, in case if they are replying, as soon as they click on a reply to button, now I wanted to display a name, maybe support, right? Reply to name has to be displayed. If I wanted to display the name, then I need to specify email dot set reply to. Reply to, let's say that I'm just giving the some information here, support at the rate, let's say Salesforce at the rate.com. Salesforce 123.com. This is reply to. Whenever they click on the reply to button, this is the email address should be populated on the email. Now, once they receive the email, what is the display name should be there? That means as soon as they receive an email, now usually there is email address, it will not show, it show the name, that ICICI Bank or a support or let's say Amazon, like this names will be displayed. Now if you want to display the name, so what is the name you wanted to display? For that, I'm going to specify email dot set sender display name. Now what should be the display name? Let's say that support team. I wanted to display the support team, which is sender display. Now, on the top level to address displaying the name is everything done. Now the next step is I need to specify the subject. What should be the subject should be displayed in the email. And then we need to talk about the what is the content inside the email. Now subject is, let's say that now I need to build a subject. Now let's build the subject string email subject equal to, let's say that subject is thank you for submitting the case. And in case if you wanted to display any this information, let's say that now instead of a case, thank you for interest. Let's say that thank you for interest, because this is the lead record, right? So this is the lead. So thank you for interest, and then I'm going to specify the first name of this. Now plus, then I'm going to add a first name. First name is whatever this name of this for loop is there inside this. I'm going to use ld record dot first name. ld record dot first name. Right. So thank you for interest and the person name. Now this is the subject. Now finally, I want a email content. What should be the email content? What should be the email content? For email content, no, this is not yet done. We have built the email subject. Now I need to pass this email subject to the this class. How can I pass it? Email dot. I need to specify the set subject. Set subject. Then I need to pass the parameter to the email. So this is done. The next one is content. For the content, again, I need to build the content string email content. Email content equal to, let's say the dear. Now I need to specify the first name and the last name. Let's say ld record dot first name plus space and then last name ld record dot last name. So this is the person name, and then I'm going to specify now here comma. Then this is the first. Once the first line is written, so usually how do we write the email? So emails will be like this, like a dear. Let's assume that person name is let's take one of the person name here. Let's say dear Kranti Patel. But after that we have a space, right? I'll give a 2 space. Now let's say that we have received the data or the vehicle, received the vehicle. Let's say here, thank you for interest. For your interest. We are working on your data. My team will contact you soon. Perfect. So this is the zone, and then your information. So your information is, let's assume that I wanted to show the lead first name or lead person name. And the second one is lead annual revenue. I wanted to show this information. What is the annual revenue of that particular person? And what is the person name? And what is their email ID? Lead email. Now, finally, let's say that also we are going to attach it. So it will say, please go through the attached vehicle information. Right? And finally, we will say that this is system generated email. So do not reply. So this is email generated by system. Thank you. And then we'll say that here, let's say that vehicle is Maruti. Maruti, and then let's say here, single. So this is the signature. Now that's the exactly I wanted to implement it. Let's say here support Maruti. This is the email which I wanted to build in the Apex programming. Now we have written the dear, whatever the person name is there, and then comma. Then finally I need to add a break button. 2 break buttons I need to add it. So after this, add a break button, br slash. This is one break, and second break is br slash. Now, plus, what is the next one? Next one is thank you for your interest. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your interest. Plus, now again, I need to add a break button here. Let's add the 2 break buttons. Now, plus, after this, we are working on your data. My team will contact you soon. So this is the content I wanted to display. Now here I'm going to add a break button. br slash plus. Now the next line is your information. Your information. Now let's say here your information. Now let's add here 3. 2 is enough. Your information. Then I'm going to add the data below. br slash plus. Now, what are the details that I need to add? I need to add a lead person name, lead annual revenue, and then lead email. So these are the details I need to add it. So lead person name. So we are going to add a lead person name here. Plus person name is lead record, first name and then last name. This is the person name. Then at the bottom, I need to add the annual revenue. Before adding the annual revenue, I need to add the breakpoint here, br slash.
Progress.
Plus, now I'm going to add an annual revenue. So lead record dot annual revenue. Plus, I wanted to add the lead email. So here I'm going to add the breakpoint and then lead email. Plus, whatever the lead record is there, dot email. Email. Now, we have done with this, and finally I'm going to specify, please go through the attached vehicle information. Break and attached email information, go through the attached email information. This is done. Now once it is done, now the next one is, this is a system generated. This is system generated. And finally, we have a thank you message. Thank you. And then I'm going to add a one breakpoint. Breakpoint and then plus. Here also plus. So this everything is a single content. That's the reason at the end of the message, we need to add a plus button. Maruti and then line break. And then finally, we have a CEO. That's it. We are ending it here. So this entirely is a one content. This entirely is a one content. Now this content, I need to add it into the HTML body or a plain text. I need to add it. Let's say that I'm going to add it inside the HTML body. Now email dot set HTML body dot set HTML. Now I'm going to pass this entire email content inside the body. Now finally, our body is done. Now this is the HTML content body is done. Now let's go for a building a email attachment. Now I need to build the attachment. Now so far the email content is ready. To address, reply to, send, display name, and email subject, set subject, email content, everything is ready. Now finally we have a attachment. I need to prepare an attachment. Now in order to prepare an attachment, which class we have to use it inside the namespace called messaging dot. The class name is email file attachment. Email file attachment, and let's give the name to this instance name. Now new messaging dot email file attachment. This is the class. Now inside this class, we need to pass the file name, content type, and everything body. I have to pass it. Now attach dot. Let's set the file name. What should be the file name? Now whenever the PDF file is generated, there is always the file name. For example, here assume that we are generating the PDF for this person. So whenever the PDF is generated, there is a file name is always the content like a, your first name is a Kranti, and then we have a space or a underscore patel.pdf. This is the way it is gets generated, right? This is the way it is gets generated. Similarly, I wanted to add the same concept. Whenever we are generating the PDF file, the PDF file name has to be the same as the person name, person first name and the last name. Now let's go ahead and implement that. In order to implement the file name, now here I need to specify the lead first name and last name. Now inside this, I'm passing the, let's say here, I'm going to pass underscore lead first name underscore last name, and then plus dot PDF. And this is the file name. Now once the file name is done, now I need to attach dot set content type. Set content type. For this set content type, basically what is this? This is whenever we are attaching it, we need to know that whether it is a image or whether it is a PNG file or whether it is a text file or whether it is a plain text, right? Whether it is a plain text or whether it is a PDF or it is a application or it is a video or maybe MP3 or MP4, which type of application, which type of format it is, MP4 or MP3, which type of it is. So we need to understand this. For understanding that, we need to add the content type. So let's say that content type is application and then PDF. Application and PDF. Finally, we need to build the body. Now, whatever this email content is there, that same thing I'm going to place it into the PDF. So that means attached dot, we have a body equal to whatever this content is there. Same content I'm going to convert into the PDF. So in order to convert, we have to use the blob. We have to use the blob dot to PDF, convert to the PDF, and which information I need to convert it, what are the content that we have written in the email, the same content has to be there in the PDF. So what are the content is there, I just converted into the PDF format using the blob. Wherever you have an attachment in the Salesforce, if you want to convert any information into the PDF, you need to use the blob. Right, this is prepare the attachment. Preparing the attachment is completed. Now, this is the each one I'm doing it. I'm doing it for the each one, each record. I'm building the email. Now, this entire email, I need to add it to the list of the attachment. List of the attachment. Whatever this single email is there, the single email, I need to place it into inside the collection. So let's say here list of messaging dot email file attachment. Let's give the name to this. Let's say attach list equal to new list of messaging dot email file attachment. Email file attachment. Now I'm going to add this each attachment to the attached list. Attached list dot add attach. Now we are done preparing the PDF is done. Now we need to attach that PDF into the actual email content. Set file attachment and then pass this list of it. Pass the list because the file attachment is expecting the list of the messaging.email file attachment. So that's the reason we have converted the single email into the list. Now I have to pass that list into the actual email content. Actual email content, email.set file attachment. Then I need to pass the attached list. I need to pass the attached list. Now, once the file attachment is done, now finally we have to send an email. Now, this is each email. Now, finally, how can we send it? Each email, I cannot send it inside the for loop. We should not be doing the inside the for loop, right? So, because this is the, if I do it inside the for loop, like every record you are sending one first record, looping through all this, send an email, second, send an email, third, send an email. Instead of doing that, place everything, all these single emails into the list of the emails, and finally outside of the for loop, you have to send it. So that means I need to build a list outside of this for loop. So list of messaging dot single email message. Let's say that this is the email list. Email list equal to new list of messaging dot single email message. I'm going to add this everything into the email list. Email list dot add the email. Perfect. So we have the information. Now it is ending the for loop here. method does not exist a list of messaging dot single email, add 3 times. Okay, so it has to be add. Now we are done with adding the information. Now once we are done, now come out of this for loop. Finally, I need to check if whatever this email list is there, this email list is empty. If it is not empty, then send this email. To sending the email, we have to use the send email result, which is called messaging dot send email. Messaging dot send email. For send email, you need to pass the list of the emails. Now this list of emails are, this is the email list. Now if you want the result, store the result into the messaging dot send email result. Send email result. And finally the result. Now, till this point, everybody clear? No. So first, what we have done here, this is the send notification, email notification. And whoever is calling this method, they should pass the list of the leads. Let's assume that on top, we have a one method, right? Create a lead. From this create a lead, as soon as the lead is created, I need to call this method. Whenever I'm calling this method, I need to pass the lead list. So lead lists are available inside this, right? So this lead list, I need to pass it. I need to pass the lead list. Now, once we pass the lead list, I'm looping through the each record. I'm looping through the each record. When I'm looping through the each record, first I'm preparing the email notification. For preparing the email notification, we have to use the single email message. In the single email message, I needed to address and what is the name should be displayed on the email. If they click on the reply to what is the email should be displayed is here. And finally, I need to add the subject and the content. Now this part is done. Building the email is done. Now I need to add the attachment. In order to add the attachment, I have prepared the file attachment. Now inside this file attachment, the content I have added, what are the on the email I'm entering the content, the same content I'm converting into the PDF, then passing everything into the list of messaging. Why we are passing to the list of the file, email file attachment to the list? Because the what are the main email is the sending email message, single email message accept only the list of the attachment. It does not accept the single attachment. So that's the reason we need to convert everything into the, push everything into the list and then pass that list to the email list. Once this is done, click on the send button. And whenever we click on the send button, get the result, whether it is working or not. Now let's click on save. Now I'm going to execute. If I execute single first method, if I execute the create lead, what will happen? Automatically send a notification email also will be executed. That means second method is also executed automatically. Now click on this execute. Now required field is missing. What is the required field? Send email field. Recipient data. Add a recipient to the send email. We are not adding the recipient. To address. Right, we are adding the to address. And this to address, did we add into the email? Oh, we did not add into the email. So we have built the to address, but we did not pass it to the email. So email dot set to address. Set to address. Now here I need to pass this to address. Copy. Pass the to address. Let's say, and let's say here, just changing it so that duplicate records will not be created. Now let's execute, debug, open, execute the highlighted one. Now the records are created. An email message. Let's click on a refresh. Right, we have an email 1, 2, 3. 3 records are created, and also we have received an email for all 3 leads. So this is the first lead, second lead, and third lead. And there is an attachment here. Now here, dear, what are the first name and last name is there? These are the information. So this is the first name, last name, and this is the annual revenue, and this is email. And attachment, we are attaching the same information in the attachment. Right? So that's exactly, we are displaying it. So we have received it for the first lead and second lead and the third lead. Any questions?
Ma'am, what is the way with which add the attachment from the file of the record? Suppose in this case, on lead record, I have the attachment in the file. So I want to add that as an attachment in email.
You can attach it. So basically, you have a file in your local system, right? So from your local system, you wanted to attach it inside the Salesforce, right? So there are multiple ways you can do it. Either you can add a path here, or else you need to build or you need to insert it into the static resource. That we will see that. Okay, so we will see that how to attach my file, which is available inside the system. We will see that.
Okay.
Ma'am, one thing, I mean, so for read and write file contents, I mean, I have a template, email template. I need to write the content, whatever you shown, right? That how do we do it here?
So you wanted to call the email template directly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll see that. That is also another part we have. So instead of writing this entire data, we just need to get the email information. So basically, if you wanted to get, so where is the email template data will be stored? Email template data will be stored into the email template object. So there is a email template object. So open this email template. So what you need to do is you need to query the information. So you have a email templates which are stays in the email template object. So instead of building this, instead of writing all this information, do the query, SQL query, and get which are the record you wanted. You need to use that particular record. For example, I have a record which is the new account creation or a notify lead person. So this is the one I wanted to call. So how can I call it? Using the where name equal to or name like. I can specify the, let's say I need notify. No, if you take a like also, it does not work. You have to specify the exact name. Notify lead person. Now here you can build the custom label instead of hard coding it here. The same exactly what you need to do is copy this, go to the email helper. Instead of writing this, write a SOQL query. Instead of hard coding this part of it, what you can do, you can use the custom label. Using the custom label also, you can which email template you wanted to pull. So that email template information, store it into the one of the object, like a email template. I'm going to store this information into the email, let's say EL equal to. So in this case, I have a subject, everything will be there. So I have a, no, body is there, subject is there, description is there. I need to get all this information, subject, description, HTML value, body, and name, ID, developer name. What else we need? I think that's all. So this is the actual query. Click on the query. Now I need this information. Now, instead of writing the subject, get the subject from this here. This is the subject. Right? Control X. And here I'm declaring the person details. So instead of building the subject manually here, get the EL dot. Now get the subject. Whatever the subject is there, that subject you need to get it. Now store this subject into the email dot set subject. Right, you need not to hard code this. Similarly, email content. Instead of hard coding the content, you have a HTML body. Body is there. Now get that body and store it into the set HTML body. Got it?
Ma'am, here a dynamic thing, I mean, dynamic value replacement can be done on the body. Like you said, right, first name, last name, and the annual revenue,
That you can, that is automatically email template will take care. So if you're now, for example, if you're calling it, so let's say here from the open opportunity, I have in the, let's say lead is there. From the lead, if you want to send an email, how can you send it? If you want to send an email, we have a activity. In the activity, if I click on the email, now let's assume that I'm taking the any email template, I can take it here. Let's say these are the recently used. Now notify lead person. Now if I select this notify lead person, automatically the information gets updated as per this record. Similarly, the same thing is going to apply in the developer console. So whenever you are passing the information, though it has to be applied. But only the thing what you need to provide is what is the address to address, right? So to address, this email template will be automatically captured. So we will see that tomorrow how to do that email template, directly capturing the email template, but which is possible. In real time, we do that. Okay. Now, so this is manually building the email template in Salesforce. Now, if you want to call the same thing from the batch class. Now, yesterday we have created a batch class, right? If I wanted to call from the batch class, so in the batch class, where can we call the another, like if I wanted to send an email, or if I wanted to build an email, where can we do it? We have to do it in the finish method. We have to do it in the finish method. Either if you want to implement it, you can implement the data here. Directly, you can implement all the messaging dot single email message, right? If you want to send it, you can send the details. Whatever we have written the logic into this method, send notification method you can implement here, or else you can call this send notification, or else you can call the send notification, but this send notification is a lead list. But what we are doing here, we are updating the account. So that does not work. So you need to have a generic implementation or generic method whenever somebody send the information, whenever somebody wants to send the information. Now you need to implement some generic method. Or else, if you want to directly implement in the batch class, you can directly implement it. Now let's quickly do that. Now, for example, you wanted to send an email. Now here I'm going to say, again, I'm writing the messaging dot single email messaging dot single email message single email message. So let's say email equal to new messaging dot single email message. Now I needed to address first. So email dot set to address. It's a BCC address. Email dot set to address. Now inside this to address, if you want, you can directly pass it, or else I need to build the list of the string. Now let's build the list of the string to address equal to new list of the string. And in this, I'm going to pass some star ID @gmail.com. Now, in case this is the hard-coded one, okay? But for example, I wanted to send an email to the person. Now, whoever is scheduled the batch job, for that person, I wanted to send an email. Now, if I wanted to send an email to that person, how can I send it? In the job details. In the job details, whoever is the created by person is there. Whoever is the created by person. I am going to capture here created by. Created by. No. If you want to send the another person, what you can do, the person who has scheduled the batch, so that person should be receiving an email. In that case, job details dot created by. So instead of ID, created by dot email. So you can pass this information. You can pass this information. Now I'm going to pass the to address to the set to address. Email dot set to address. Now this is set to address, and then what is the name to be displayed? Email dot set sender display name. So sender display name is that, let's say, I'm going to say batch job. Right now, finally, email dot subject. Email dot set subject. Now this set subject is, let's say here, weekly batch job support. Now description is email. Now you need to build the string first for the content. String email content. Now let me add the same email content here, whatever we have added. Now in this case, what are the, I do not need the lead person. Let's say that instead of a lead person, I need job record. Which job has been completed? Job record ID. Record ID. And then here I'm going to specify the whatever these job details are there, this job details dot ID. right? And then let's say that I need it. What are the total batches? Let's say total number of batches available. Here I'm going to say job details dot total job items. Similarly, I'll capture the number of errors if there are any error. Let's say whether it is a error records. Now for the error records, I'm going to specify the number of error records. Now this is the information I have added to the email. This is the email.set HTML body. I have added the email content. Then finally, I'm going to insert this. For inserting it, that means sending the email messaging dot email messaging dot send email. Send email, it is expecting in the format of email list, right? Now I have here single email. I need to convert this into the list of the email. So I need to use the list messaging dot single email message email list new list of messaging dot single email message. Now finally I'm going to add this each email to the email list dot add. We'll pass the email and finally I'm going to pass this information to the email list send email messaging dot send email. Now if you wanted to check only if there is a data available, then only send the email. Email list dot is empty messaging dot send email. Now if you need a result, you need to store the information into the messaging dot send email result array and then let's say result. So this is what we will write it inside the finish method. Finish method is to either to send an email or check the job status, right? So if the job is completed or not, whoever is scheduled the batch, so that person should be receiving an email, right? So in order to send that, we need to use this. So this is how we are going to send an email by entering the static data. Now, in case if I wanted to call the email template, we have so many email templates in Salesforce, right? During the admin, we have implemented the email templates. Now, if I have a email templates, instead of hard coding it here, what I need is I just wanted to call the existing one. Just need to call the existing one. In case if I wanted to call the existing one. Now, how can I do that? How can I send an email message? Now, this is the manual part of it. Let me execute this first. Is everything is done, right? Created by job type, right? That job year. Am I placing it anywhere? Lead information. Perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and execute this. To execute the batch job, what is the syntax? How do we execute the batch job? How to execute the batch job? How do we execute the batch job? Database.execute. Okay, before that, what we need to do?
Implement.
Before that, what we need to do? Initialize it. Initialize the batch job. And then database dot execute batch. Database dot execute batch, and now you need to pass it. And what is the second parameter? In case if I do not pass the second parameter, what will happen? By default, what is the it is going to take?
False.
By default, it will take the 200. Limit is 1 to 2000. But if I do not specify any number in the second parameter, by default, it is going to take 200. Now click on the highlight, execute. Now click on the logs. Now S object sockle query, there is something is missing, error. S object rows was retrieved asynchronous created by. Okay, so there is a error in the sockle. Now let's see what is the error in the sockle query. Now here I'll add the created by, click on save. Where it is getting error. Now let me do one thing. File, open. Now object is asynchronous. Async. Apex job. Click on this, open. ID, job type, status, Apex class ID, job process, job item process, total job items, number of items created by ID. And that's all. Click on query, execute. Now this is the created by. Now I need a created by comma email. Dot email. Execute it. Perfect. I need to add this into the query. Now here, instead of a created by, I'm going to add created by dot emails, because we are capturing the whoever is the person has scheduled it, running the batch job, that person should be capturing the email. Capturing the email. Click on save. Now here, let me execute this. Debug, highlight, execute the highlighted one. Let's monitor the log. Successful. Okay, so it is completed. Now here it is the email. Thank you for your interest. This is the job record ID, total number of batches, error, and please go through the attached vehicle information, because this is we have copied from the lead. So that's the same email the person has received it. Now, in case if you are calling the email template, now let's assume that I have an email template. Email template, whenever we are executing the email template, right? So let's go to the email template. Click on the classic email template. Now, for example, if I wanted to customer email, let's select it, notify the lead person. If I wanted to test this, click on this send test and verify. Now, if you see the recipient, what are the recipient here? Contact lead user. Apart from this, we do not have any recipient. Apart from this, we do not have a to address. This is basically recipient record. Either it should be a contact, lead, or user. That means if you are using the email template in the Apex class, so you need to pass either contact ID or a lead ID or user ID. Now, how do you do that? Let's say that first I'm going to query the email template. Email template is, let's say, email template equal to the query that we have already written. Let's copy that query. Okay, so this is the query that we have already written. I'm going to use this query to get the single email template. Now, once I have received this information, let's go ahead and build this messaging dot single email message. Let's say email equal to new messaging dot single email message. Now, whatever this email is there, for this email, there is a one which we have a set target object ID. Set target object ID. You need to pass this set target object ID. This is basically whenever you are testing or you are using the email template, you should be using your target object ID. What should be the target object ID? Target object ID should be a contact, lead, or user. So you need to must pass the target object ID. Let's say here contact.id. Now it will not take any other. So it will take only this contact, lead, and user. And then email dot, as usual, the set sender display name. Sender display name. Now display name is, let's say that support. Now next one is email dot. Now if you want I need to set the reply to. In case if you want a reply to, you can send the reply to, or else maybe you can waive it. But usually in the real time, we always use the set reply to, because when in case if they click on any reply to by mistake and the user has clicked on reply to, or they are responding to that email. So where should we receive it? We should be receiving it to some org email ID. So there is a org email ID. Org email ID. So where do you find org email ID? There is a common ID will be there. So that common ID will be, you can find out in the organization organization-wide email address. In this organization-wide, whatever the verified email address is there, usually we use that verified email address. So copy this verified email address and get this verified email address. Now I'm going to build this. Let's say that I need to pass this template. Whatever this template is there, I need to pass this template. So far we have taken the contact ID, sender, display, reply to, right? Next one is that email dot. I need to set the subject and the description. Subject and description, I do not want to take it separately here. So simply what I can do, email dot set template ID. Email dot set template ID. Now in this, I'm going to pass this EL, whatever this record is there, dot ID. So by default, it will take the subject, description, HTML value, body, everything it will be taken. So you simply need to set the template ID, set template ID, and then target object ID. Target object ID. So these two are mandatory if you are referring the email template. Now, once this is done, the second one is mandatory one is that email dot set what ID. But this is important for the merge fields in the template. Now you sometimes you have a merge fields in the template, right? So email template have a merge fields. If you have a merge fields in the template and if you want to replace that merge fields with the actual record information, then what is the data, what is the record that you are passing to this email template is you need to specify. For example, I'm specifying the account ID. So whatever this ID is there, all the merge fields within this template will be replaced with this information. Replaced with this information. So you need to pass the what ID. Now, what ID is going to specify what is the information that we are sending it. So usually the what ID is, we need to specify the account, opportunity, right? Any customer object. Those are the information you need to provide. So sometimes in the interview, they will ask what is the what ID and what is the who ID, right? So what ID is, so what ID is basically, it's a single word, what ID. So what ID is, it's a API name for the related to. That means if you want to populate any information of the particular object, then we will go for a what ID. Usually the what ID, the objects are account, opportunity, and campaign, cases, any custom object. Now, whereas the who ID is, now, who ID is, it is also the API name field, but user, who is the user? Who is the user or who is the information that needs to be specified? So here users will want to know, make sure that they are populating the field either from lead or contact. So this is who is the person, who represents the person, what represents the object, who represents the person. Persons will be there in the object called contact object or lead object or user object. So who is the person? Who is the person that is going to refer? Now it represents a person name. What is going to represent it's basically the object name. It's a object details. Now similarly, when you are using the email template while preparing the email in the Apex, now you need to specify if there are any merge fields in the template. If you want to replace those merge fields, with what ID we need to replace it, which object do I need to replace it. So those information I need to specify it. Those information we need to specify that. So which is called as a what ID. Now as soon as I provide this, all the merge fields will be replaced. Now finally, I have a target object ID, template ID, what ID. Now I need to build the email, whom to send the email to address, set to address, set to address, set to address. Now here in the set to address, you need to pass the who is the members that you wanted to send an email. Let's say that only one person I'm sending an email, right? So this is always capture the list of the information. What are the two addresses there? I cannot provide it like this. Now what I need to do, I need to build a list, because this is always accept the list or array. To address equal to new list of string, and then we are going to pass the information. Now this list I need to pass it to the set to address. Set to address. Now we are done with setting the to address. Now finally I need to send an email, right? If I wanted to send an email, messaging dot send email. Now this email is going to accept the list. It does not accept the single. So for that, I need to build a list here. List of the messaging dot single email. This is the email list. And then equal to new list of the messaging dot single email message. Now to this list, we need to add the single email information. Email list dot add. Then we need to pass the email. And this information we need to pass to the send email. Send email. Now finally, if you want to know the result of this, where you are going to store it, you have the information of messaging dot send email result. Send email result. This is the list equal to results into messaging dot send email. Now, if it is a result is successful, you can capture the information. If it is a failed, you can capture the information. Let's say here, if it is a successful, email is successful. If whatever the result is there, right? This is the array. Let's assume that I wanted to check only the first one. Dot, if it is a successful, if it is a success, then I wanted to print the system.debug. System.debug. Let's say that this email is successful. Email sent successfully. Else, now else what we can do here, I wanted to capture the errors. If it is an error, system.debug, then I wanted to capture the error or a failed records or failed emails, plus whatever this result dot first record is there. You need to first record dot whatever the error, capture that error dot, then use the message. This is a single record. If you want to get the each record, then you need to loop through the messaging dot send email result. You need to loop through the messaging dot send email result. That if you loop through this, then you will be able to capture the if condition and the else condition. So this is how you use the calling the email template. So if you are calling the email template, you need a target object ID, template ID. What is the ID in order to replace the merge fields? In order to replace the merge fields, what ID? Rest all things are same. Clear? Take this as an assignment. Implement this as an assignment. Same thing you need to implement in the method or in class. Somebody asked the question, right? Is that clear how to call the email templates? Is that you, Sunil? Okay. So take this as an assignment. Whatever we have written in the notepad, you need to execute this using the Apex program. And let me know what are your observations on this. No. So limit on the email programming is using the API or Apex, you can send single email maximum of 5,000 of external emails. External emails are nothing but the emails, there is no user. There is no internal user. You are sending to your customers. When you are sending a customer does not have a user record in Salesforce, right? So the limitation is only on the external emails, not on the internal emails. So only on the external emails, how many we can send it? 5,000 external emails we can send it. And also take the homework. Write an Apex program to create a 3 hiring manager records inside the object and send the email notification to all 3 hiring manager records with the required subject and content. Either you can build the subject or content manually, or else you can call the email template. and write the email content inside the PDF file and attach this file along with the email. Take notes of it. So another homework, write in a batch class to update the candidate records. Update the candidate records and send an email to the finish method. In the finish method, send an email. And the second one, write in a batch class to hard delete the lost opportunity records. What are the lost opportunity records are there? Delete this. I think these are already I have given, but this is just a reminder. Send an email in the finish method. Take a notes of it. And that's all for today. And this is the trial head link.